Hey guys, and welcome to a new little mini series we're going to be doing called Grip Tool Origins. Today we're at the Grip Factory with David Horne, and we're going to be having a few looks at different grip tools that he's made over the years, and we're obviously big fans of them, and we're now producing these items, so I thought it would be really good for us to take like a little deep dive into the products and hear what David's got to say about them.
Yeah, sure, that sounds good.
So here we have the World of Grip GoldBar. I just wanted to know a little bit of history about this item.
Okay. Back in 1994, I was watching the World Rugby World Cup from South Africa. And one of the interesting little anecdotes they had about halfway through was this gold bar that they had in a particular part of this mine, probably like the entrance to it. And if you could put your finger through the hole and lift it with two fingers, I think it was about £80,000 worth of that gold in that value of that time. You could lift it out and it was yours. And I thought, wow, that's fantastic. Anyway, a bit of time went by because it was back then in 1994, you couldn't find out who it was, but a little bit of time went by and there was some info later on the similar thing. Anyway, I contacted them. Is there any chance I could come down and have a go at this with the aid of the internet and that? And heard nothing back. They obviously didn't fancy a grip guy coming down taking 80 grand's worth of gold bar. But it was basically based off, I took some kind of like info measurements of what a gold bar looked like, the slope on it, and we built this to train on, and then obviously it was added into the GripTop series, which started about 2010.
So 2 fingers?
Yeah, so then it was 2 fingers, but as a competition event, I understood that it had a limitation. So we've never actually had it as a contest event as 2 fingers, but we've had it as the full hand, and it seems to be quite a popular event.
Yeah, it's still a very unique pinch implement, really, as far as they go, and it's one of the first things I actually bought this. I remember, because pinch, I kind of like pinch, it just suits my hands better, and it's just a really cool, challenging lift, isn't it?
Well, it's got pinch, so you got a bit of palm. You can't quite get as much palm as what you can on a straight one because of that effect of it smearing out. You have to have some smearing pinch strength as well to actually still be able to hold it. And of course, finally, as with all pinch lifts, although most people don't seem to think this, you actually have to have wrist strength as well.
Oh yeah.
Because the wrist strength brings it over here, which makes it easier for your lift.
Has this been the first and only version of it?
There is a prototype somewhere. There is prototypes of basically everything, somewhere.
But this is the main one that's been used.
Yeah, there is only one used, and that was the one. And in fact, that was my first one, and it's the same one that's been used in so many competitions.
Well seasoned.
Yeah, that was the thing about. I mean, clearly some companies want to put paint on because it does look better. But when paints change, then the surfaces change.
It makes a huge difference.
And I knew a long time back about that, so that there was no need. So it looks a bit more rough and ready. But it works the same every time.
I feel like that's the kind of the way the sport is, though. It is a bit rough and ready.
It kind of is, isn't it?
So what else I thought we could do? Do you have any interesting stories about lifts on the gold bar or anything like that?
I'll tell you what, let's have a look to see if there's anything. There's certainly some big lifts. Unfortunately, they seem to be all Europeans at the top there. Finland, Bulgaria, Finland. Juha-Matti Rautanen, he holds the biggest lift, 43.25. Now, Eddie Hall actually did quite a good lift on here, but he has gone outside of the top 5. But I remember him lifting quite a good lift on it. Yeah.
Was it max, do you think, or do you reckon he had a bit more in the tank?
Well, I trained him his grip for his the one before he won the World's Strongest Man, and so we had that as one of his training tools. He took to it very well.
I remember seeing the video for that. Yeah, actually, it was really good.
Yeah, I'd go up there and train. He'd also come down here and train, and a couple of times he came down here with a film. One of the times he came down here with a film crew, and he trained the whole day. So It was quite impressive,
Yeah,
his endurance to train for the amount of time. But you got the hold. So we always set a hold a certain percentage on, and Harry Tollenan, a great Finnish lifter, is held that. I mean, I remember me and you talking about. So he's held the 28.5 for 48 seconds, 46 seconds. Sorry.
He's still going strong as well.
He is. I mean, that's a great lift.
That is ridiculous.
Steve Millard, who's another great pinch, crazy guy, but he's just behind him with 45 seconds. So they're the top two. In the top five, with Tommy Tomo of Finland third, Roman Yuneshkev of Bulgaria fourth, and Arto Horenen in fifth
a lot
spot.
of finish there.
They had. I remember thinking, like, I think me and Arto talked about it a bit back, but as a team, they have so much strength and depth.
Yeah, they do.
There was at a time when we were the world's strongest hands were all with competitions. I think it was about 6 of those or 7. I can't remember. And although me, Steve Gardner, Nick McKinless, and a few others could figure and win.
Yeah.
We didn't have there wasn't the strength and depth in the British team, whereas Finland could just absorb the classes.
Well, there we go. That's just a little chat about the GoldBar. We'll have another look at something else in a minute. Next up, we have the GripTop's HalfPenny. I think this is one that it gets a little bit of a love-hate relationship with a lot of people, but it's a really challenging, fun lift. And this is one of the things that was in my first competition in 2019 at the British Grip Championships here. It was a hold for time as well, so it was absolutely horrible. But just give us a little brief history on this.
History is that back in 1933, J.C. Tolson, the mighty Apollon, he welded an old English penny, which that is the size of, soldered an old English penny onto a 65-pound weight, and then he lifted it. This was his particular feat. Now, when I thought, I gotta feature that in, I didn't want to do one that had a rounded underside.
Right.
Because I kind of felt that when you would have lifted it, the finger would have encroached underneath, and it now wouldn't have been as good as what I did. Yeah. So I kind of thought, a quick little think about it, and I thought, I'm going to have it like it's an old English penny stuck in a slot machine. And that's what I did. And so that's basically like it's stuck.
That's exactly what it's like.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's at the amusements and it's stuck. So that's what it's like. And it works very well. And, it's the love-hate. Now, in all-round grip competitions, especially in the past, we always, if we had an event that had a thickish bar or a thick implement, we would have you. We would also have Jerome Bloom.
Yeah.
Now, if the whole of the competition is thick events, that's not fair for him. Yeah. He has a great grip strength, but he can't show it.
Yeah.
If all the events are small-handed events, you have a great grip strength, you can't show it. So when we had those events that had an effect on the score, we would balance it off. So thick event, small event. So when a big hand's crying about this, if you look at the competition, there will be a thick event there for you.
Yeah. It's literally the perfect thing to challenge everyone, because
well, it's very. I mean, when I've taken to a lot of shows and things, and it's one of those ones that if I'm going to put it to a show where there's just old grannies and old dears and old chaps and everybody having a go, I kind of know that no one's going to really injure themselves unless they drop it on their toe. So you set it up with a little bit of weight. Everybody goes, "Oh, you better lift that," and of course, it's like that GoldBar. It's like, oh my God, how and also it can throw up little differences. So the big bodybuilder who comes over clearly going on a lift it, can't lift it, and you get some kind of guy who's been a cobbler his whole life, standing 70 kilo wet, and he just likes easy. So it's this strength here. It's key pinch, and the king of this move and the king of key pinch is Mr. Bloom, Jerome Bloom,
100%.
and he. At a body weight of, basically right now he's about 70. He's probably a little bit heavier, but at a body weight of under 74, he holds all the world records from 74 upwards at 21.8 kilo. He has that perfect hand for the perfect size, for the perfect implement to lift it, and does it exceedingly well.
Is there much technique to it?
Pretty much like a key.
Yeah.
It is exactly like a key. So when you're holding a key, thumb to that part, in, turn, that is it. It is called a key pinch, and that is it. You can't really get wrist activated, but you can kind of like try to get that. But getting that sounds like you can just do that, but it won't. It will just peel away from your thumb. So it's just about being strong in that hands, and if that feels small for you, it feels perfect for Jerome.
Yeah.
But do remember that the 3-inch bar over here doesn't feel perfect
hands.
for Jerome.
Yeah.
It's all good for you.
Yeah.
So Jerome is the king there. Quite funnily, on the hold, he's not got the biggest.
Right.
So I wonder, like, I'd have to ask him how it burns. Ju.
Oh, really?
Yeah, who we were just talking about. 16 kilo for 23, along with Joni Mahonen, who you know as well. Germany's Jeffrey Pudzowit is in third, and Jerome is in fourth. So there you go. You know, it's
needs to pull his finger out.
Well, yeah. If he wants to take the number one position, there you go, Jerome. You're not number one on a hold.
Yeah.
Let's get that on.
Yeah, but this is a great one for. It's a good one to have in the gym to challenge people, take to shows, like you said. It's just a really cool, challenging lift for every level.
It is a great feat of strength challenge for anyone from 4 to 104.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt anyone.
There we go, the halfpenny. Right, moving on from one small pinch onto another quite evil lift, really. This is one I haven't actually used before, but this is the Stub. So let us know a little bit about this.
Well, there's he's probably over there. Desi is just over there. Franz Fottinger, back in the 1890s, he lifted 2 blocks of wood with weights hanging between it by the needle. And I thought, yeah, it fascinated me. I actually got up to doing his weight with a needle, but I kind of thought, do you know, if the needle breaks, it's blah, blah, blah. So I thought, can I just adjust it and make the thing a bit thicker? So hence I made it 8 mil thicker by that size, and obviously fastened to our loading pin, which keeps it all rigid. Yeah. And that's where we go. As a contest event, it is not quite the same as that. For some reason, you know, that is a little bit different to that, even though it looks the same. Yeah. I think there's differences is you can get it in between here, so in that there. Yeah,
it feels quite comfortable. Yeah, actually, surprisingly, considering it looks quite horrendous to hold, it feels comfortable.
Yeah, it seems to be less of an issue, you know, to large-handed people as what that one is.
Yeah.
By the fact that the top lifts are the heaviest guys.
Yeah.
You know, this is all an indication, you know, there is not a small-handed event. We can see from the results that that one is a small-handed event, as we could see from a thick bar that is a big-handed event. Yeah. But on this one, it doesn't seem that way. The weights drop down each class, you know. Okay. So if you got the 120 plus class, it's 27.15 kilo. Then it goes down to 25s, 24s, 23s. Jerome's down there at 23, so he's 4 kilo off the...
Which isn't a massive amount, is it, really? But
it isn't a massive, but it's a percentage that he wasn't. There wasn't that percentage with the halfpenny. He was above the 100%. So. We go into the holds, and I'm not even figuring in the top 5 for the max, and here I am figuring as numero uno with my 21 kilo for 17 seconds.
When did you set that?
2014, 10 years ago.
So it stood a while.
Yeah, Joni Mahonen is in second position with 1 second behind me.
Well,
Joni.
Yeah, a good one. The Stub.
The Stub.
So here we have the MoonTop and the GoldBar. Now, a lot of people will know the MoonTop as a very difficult lift. It feels ginormous in your hand, but then you compare it to this and it just eclipses it with the size. You know, I've got pretty large hands, and this thing just feels huge in mine.
Yeah, I mean, there's thick bar events, and there's ones that Jerome can't even do.
Yeah.
So we only pretty much the GoldBar has been mostly for record events for
Yeah.
people who want to. It was actually coined glob by Jed Johnson. They're one of the great grip guys and promoters and
Yeah.
just instigators of grip in America, and a guy called Chris Matheson. I think they'd cut the end cannonball off a 60-pound round head dumbbell,
Yeah.
and then they put a line basically around the equator, on which your fingers couldn't encroach. But I mean, God knows whose fingers are encroaching around that. But you know, there might have been some giant, and you couldn't scoop it or etc.
Yeah.
So that's where the glob came, and I cut. That was basically pretty similar in size as a feat to run from Jed's initial kind of thing, really. Looking at once again, Harry Tollanen's there were 24.15 on that.
That is crazy.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yoni's down in with a 20 kilo along with Henry Sonnen, and pretty crazy lifts, really. And once again, Yoni has the hold 15
I feel like
kilo
he's got a lot, hasn't he?
for 35 seconds. Yeah, he's a great grip athlete. Not really got any weak areas.
Yeah.
So when we had that one, we kind of realised that it probably wasn't going to sell to everyone, and we weren't going to use it really as a contest. I think most of the contests have been used with it is probably in Finland.
Yeah.
We then made the MoonTop, which is a smaller hemisphere, and it's far more.
Much nicer.
It's far more usable.
Yeah.
So it's bigger than a hub,
Yeah.
but not as ginormous as a glob top. We have two Mark 1 and Mark 2 because, as you know, when you buy things that are going to be attached, you know, is this thing going to be made forever?
Yeah, that's it.
And that's the slight drawback, is when you utilize something on top. If you make it all from, like the GoldBar will always be made the same because it's just from a sheet of metal.
Yeah.
You cut it, you put the bends in the right place, and you weld it in the right places.
Yeah.
That's it. But when you purchase a particular thing that is, you know, from a company that may have made 10,000 of them,
well,
and then you can't find the particular one.
That's it.
It changes, or it goes, or you have to adapt it occasionally. MoonTop winner. Let's see, the MoonTop. If we go and see, the difference is, so generation 1. I think that's the generation 1 over there. The biggest lift is Harry Tollanen again, with 26 kilo, and then Gen 2. Actually, it's very little. Is Ivan Krivkev of Russia, 26.3. Sorry to everybody about my pronunciation of European names. I think I'm getting a few of them wrong. And he holds with Gen 1, 15 kilo for 45 seconds by Yoni, and Gen 2, Mark McGinley, arm wrestler, 15 kilo for 43 seconds.
Wow.
So not masses in it really,
No,
but there is definitely different feels.
It's just a very slightly different
Yeah, you
shape,
can see it.
isn't
It's just there's a flatter
Yeah.
bottom there.
Yeah.
And you know, you have to sort of make out that there is a difference. There is a difference.
Yeah.
You know, like these companies who make things and then, well, there's definitely no difference. There definitely is a difference. The grip scene are in, you know, they're not naive.
Yeah.
The grip crew might even be viewed as being a bit nerdish in certain circles.
Yeah.
And they will know if it's this thing's a millimeter this
100%.
way, the gripper's got an extra spread, this is that is that.
Yeah, definitely. But again, this is one of my first grip tools that I had, and it's one that, because it's so unique and different to everything else, it's just good to kind of enjoy using these weird things.
How have you found everybody's response? Because I know you sell a normal, like Iron Mind carabiner topped loading pin. And of course, what we wanted was to put it into a slotted one to be fastened securely. It already. I'm not making that we were the first there, because Kimo Coco of Finland, and I think even Tony Lane, they were already doing a loading pin that you fastened the thing fastened tight. I felt that was the way to go for me, because as a lifter, I don't want to be holding the thing and trying to get my hand correctly for a contest lift. It never ever felt secure as if I could go on a loading pin that was still.
It's good question, that. It's something that we've been doing this for 6 years now, and I feel like the UK crowd are so rolling handle and thick bar heavy.
So they already have that loading pin in the
exactly.
hand. So what you can do is merge two. And they will learn with experimentation there is a difference.
Exactly. And we're slowly sort of incorporating them more into our competitions now, because the level's getting so much more competitive. People are saying, well, he's tilting that a little bit. It's like, right, let's get the fixed pin out. And it stops any cheating, doesn't it? That's...
Well, it's you know, look here. I always try with the rules. I've written hundreds of rules, and for other companies and promoters and strongman and all sorts. So when you write a rule list, you kind of think, well, how could I cheat on that? And then I would, before I even upload this thing, I want to see if I can cheat, and I'm trying everything possible. And when I mean cheat, look, it's not a cheat. It's like the kind of what you want this lift to look like so, what has been done in the past. You want it still to be like that.
I think pinch blocks are a really good example for that. Whereas if it's on a fixed pin with this, I couldn't rotate it back.
Well, you've got a length of a pin, so you've got leverage now.
Whereas if this was attached to a carabiner, I could start
you can get some
with
wrist,
my wrist locked in, and I'm gaining an advantage by that over someone else that doesn't know that. So the fixed pins, they're coming in slowly more and more. But
well, I mean, you had the HorneTop.
Exactly.
And
so we're getting away from, because I just feel like
I wouldn't get away from your identity. I would get away with merging.
Yeah, that's a merger. Right, well, a good one to move on to would be the HorneTop. That was recently used in the Grip League final, and I think it's another one of those where people really struggled with it, because the usual vertical style lifts are a lot easier than this, due to the shape of the cone. Like even normal, like the Little Big Horn, the taper is so much more aggressive on this, where I feel people struggle with it.
Well, I coined the name with the E on just because I'd made it. So I had a chance there to put the HorneTop on. It was basically to simulate an anvil lift by the Horne. So I did a bit of research to I could get things made. Possibly, maybe I should have gone down that route now, because But you could get, if you had somebody who was very clever, anybody could make that. But you sheet of, they seam it. That's you would buy these ones with the point off, but I didn't want the points on in case they slipped out. There's no need, so we took off the point and it's welded to that. Yes, it became very popular. Unlike the Little Big Horn, which I don't think it has anywhere near the slope, and also has the tilt and various other things, it stood unique in that respect. So that's really the history. And there's no particular date. Anvil lifts by the Horne have been done for a long time, and this was just our World of Grips coining it, really.
This is definitely one of the most popular implements. You see people lifting this all the time, so I imagine there's some good records for this.
There is. Actually, it was great to see your competition the other day, because
it went down really well. Everyone seemed to enjoy the different challenge.
Well, we had to hold the other day, and Alex.
She's
I'll give you a course, because she came up and she was like, I said, but just have a little go with that one. So she was just talking about starting with the top one, and I took on board, because she was so light. I thought, maybe you want to start down here. So she started here and she hoisted that like it was nothing. Okay. So then I explained lots of rules and lots of little things, and then we went with it. She started on the top one, didn't quite get the time, but lifted the top one, and then went on to the 55 kilo. So there is some great lifts, and that was great because that was a 55 kilo for 15 seconds, and she really was only about 60 kilo.
Yeah, she is, yeah.
But she's a rock climber. Once chatting to her after, it just seemed to be... Oh, I watched her, a couple of videos of her. She does these ninja, and I thought, well, there we go. Yeah. No bloody wonder.
Yeah, I think she was like German Ninja Warrior champion, something like that. Yeah. Which you can see, really. She's very technically good at these sort of lifts as well now. She learns a lot. She's always practicing, consistent with the training. Yeah. So that's why she's good, especially for a bodyweight. It's crazy.
This one isn't a biggest problem as what you think for the hand size. So this one is never going to be a big hand or a small hand event, because if you've got a smaller hand, really you want to be up the top. Yeah. And if you've got a bigger hand, you want to be further down the bottom. Yeah. It's pretty much, you want it to feel comfortable. Yeah. So you either go up or down for that one.
I think when I spoke to you, didn't you say about trying to get the palm?
Well, you got a bigger hand. See, I would definitely have this part further down. So I'd be higher by about an inch and maybe an inch and a quarter than what you are. So, but yeah, biggest weight is going to be Mr. Joni Mahonen from Finland with no one's broke the 100 yet, but 98.1.
I think that could go.
Who do you think?
I think there's a couple. I know we've got a competition coming up, and a couple of people.
Well, by the way, we've got the Conan the Barbarian Records Day, November the 23rd or 24th. You can do it in either a day. Yeah. We'll be hosting here, but we have all the other. We do it every year. I think this is the 11th. So venues internationally, of which records. So maybe
we'll get it on. Yeah.
You get somebody on for the 100 kilo. But there, Joni stands there with 98.1 at the moment. Steve Millard, Big Steve, 95. Henry Sonnen, 93. Stefan and Matty below that. I mean, just to show Joni's hold, 65 kilo. I remember you asking about with the record, because I think you got about 25, didn't you?
Yeah, I did all right, actually. I was pretty happy with that.
50 seconds.
Yeah, it was...
It's on a fall asleep.
I remember the first time I tried to do the hold, and I was like, 50 seconds, right? Maybe I'll go for 30, I'll get halfway. I think I got about 15. I was like, how's he got a minute?
it's you've got to be, on the holds, you've got to be near Zen-like. Yeah, yeah. Before it starts to become a problem. Yeah. So you need to be Zen-like, breathing totally perfect. Also, you don't need to lift up massively off the floor. I was trying to tell people that. Yeah. Because you're lifting it off massively and it's a piece of piss, and then it's all of a sudden you feel like it's coming close to your leg. The referee's looking at the side. You don't need this extra stresses when you're meant to be in a Zen state. Yeah. So you only need to lift it. I would lift it about that far. I'd get a little bit of a lean to the side to just counterbalance my body. And one other final little tip on pretty much any of the holds: when you know, I am seconds away from going, come down with it.
Right, okay.
It's amazingly, I don't know if it's psychological or something like that, but it feels like you're lighting and
giving all your secrets away.
If you do the opposite, you'll pull yourself off it.
Right, okay.
You go like this, I'm gonna what you'll do is you'll pull your hand off. So just come down with it. Yeah, well, secrets. Yeah. I've retired from grip.
You can give them all away now. Yeah.
I think that's 2017 is my last major grip competition. Wow. It is 7 years ago.
Time flies. Yeah. Next up, we have the shallow hub. Strangely, hub lifting is one of my favourite lifts. And the shallow hub's pretty shallow, as you can see, but it's also quite small, I think, compared to the Iron Mind hub. There is no history to this size as such. I did a lot of research on hub lifting. Usually always done with a plate, the inside of the plate. Usually done with deep dish plates, long back. Obviously somebody's going to pick a deep dish plate rather than a shallow plate. Yep. It just is a lot harder. So there was really the only utensil really was Iron Mind's hub, which was quite highish. Yeah, it is.
I will give kudos to a guy called Stan Pike from the northeast. He made one called a triple hub,
Right.
which was basically like what it is. You sound a small hub and a hub and a hub, and they were 20 mil. So I thought of the size and I thought, well, that feels good.
Yeah.
I wanted to take away the slant.
Right.
I wanted it basically back to a claw pinch.
Yeah. I feel like all the UK deep dish plates have that little, almost like domed effect, isn't it?
Well, whether it has a domed effect, if the depth, they will turn, you know, once a person realizes that, do you know, if I turn my hand a bit to the side
Yeah.
and basically like nearly lift it like that, it's easier.
Yeah.
Of course it is, because you're not using your fingertips anymore. I didn't want that, so I went shallower so that really this was going to have to be it. Even if that was to the side,
Yeah.
you know, these two fingers were going to be there. This could be slightly to the side and that was it. So it really was going to be what I perceived a hub lift.
Yeah.
And so what started that off was that happened. And now you actually saw then that people actually suddenly start to get good, even at the shallow
Yeah.
hubs. They could train from that, go onto a shallow hub, and they were now lifting what looked like plates that seemed impossible.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really good challenging lift and actually a really effective way to train for that. There's not really much else you can do. They just don't make the plates anymore like they used to. They're very difficult to find. We get people asking all the time, where can you get some good deep dish plates from? And
Most of them are really in America.
They are. Yeah.
In Britain, Hampton brought a good run of plates. I think I've got a couple of Hamptons over there, and they were the size of the deep dish American plates. But I mean, they go for silly money in America,
Yeah.
as do blobs. And so, you know, at the end of the day, if you're just training, do you need to pay a load of money for, you know, a blob or even a 45-pound plate that you can't lift? You might as well just buy some training equipment.
Yeah, and then lift it easy when you get the chance.
And yeah, exactly. It will get you stronger. So some of the best lifts on that, Mr. Harry Tollan again, 33.45.
Jesus.
Yeah. Once again, Finland dominates the whole part until we get to the 66 kilo with Jerome with 26.
Go on.
Which is still a great lift.
That's very good, yeah.
Yeah. The holds, once again, Harry. Now, one other thing we did do with this thing was we had the key pinch, 2 hands.
Okay.
You ever done it in the contest?
No, but like that?
That's it.
Yeah.
Of which it became quite a favourite with lots of people.
Yeah.
So you had a key pinch, but you kind of would key pinch, but you would also do a bit of side pressure as well.
I was just going to say, you're almost like...
Yeah, don't believe that you're getting... don't think, I'll tell you what, that feels hard, but if I do this, guess what? It's like adds a little bit.
Yeah.
So we have Michael Thomas of America up with 56 kilo, 56.44. He's the king of that. And in the holds, we have Serco with 36 kilo with 45. He really suited on. It's a good event. On that, I'm in 4th position, 48.56 I lifted. So not quite the 56.44, which is quite impressive.
That seems like a lot.
But it's a good event. Might be one for a future one of your future comps.
I like 2-handed lifts as well because it's challenging both hands. You know.
It is always useful to train both your hands.
Yeah.
I was always, apart from this things and that, but I was always very, very ambidextrous.
Yeah.
So I would try in a contest if there was a 2-hand vent. I would obviously do 2 hands, but on singular-handed vents, I'll do that one with my left, that one with my right, that one with my left, that one with my right.
Yeah. But
it saves you because, especially with some holds, I would prefer to do a hold there and a hold there.
Definitely, yeah. Because your nervous system, like I noticed it when in the Grip League final, going from the HorneTop hold into the hand grippers, it wasn't my strength that had gone, it was my nervous system because my arms were shaking so much.
How did you find the set after? Did you like your set in the grippers?
A lot better, yeah. So David was talking to me after it. We were talking about my set technique, and basically I was setting the hand gripper to the width required, instead of going deeper and then opening up to the. I actually closed the 190 RGC.
Oh, lovely.
Last week, so it's my best.
It makes a massive difference. There's no need to give away things.
Yeah.
The rule is to slip a 30mm or a 20mm or a credit card or whatever block between the handles.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that you can't go deeper and open to that. And that is actually better. You get a reflex action. You've kind of gone in and then you're ready to fire.
Yeah, well, it made a lot of difference to me, so. Yeah, right, next up. And the last one we'll take a look at. I think this is your newest.
Yeah, it was pretty much the newest. Support an event in the month. Yeah, we've got the adjustable thick bar over there.
Yeah.
Maybe another time, because you're not producing it yet.
Not yet. But the FencePost, it looks massive and quite intimidating, but again, it does feel quite nice. It feels
good. Pretty much the FencePost was to be coined, the name, because it is what it is. It's a good vertical bar lift. It's quite kind. It's got slightly beveled corners, so you don't really get any issues from it. We have the label there, so your hand doesn't go below it, and that's it.
Yeah, I've got a feeling I know who's going to be at the top of this one.
Oh, I don't know. HandShake. You haven't built HandShake yet, have you?
Not yet. We've got the parts, so it's coming.
Yeah, the HandShake's based on my hand.
Is it really?
Yeah. I see that is one that you can actually make, because it's just the 4 pipes. So if you look, here we go.
Well, show it to the camera up there.
It's actually based on my hand, so I thought we'd have one where...
Why not? Yeah, that's another great one. Again, it feels, because it's smooth edges, it feels all right in the hand.
So yeah, the HandShakes and these are all good ones. I'll look forward to seeing when you get these.
I do. I know it's going to be a popular one, this, and it's just a...
Dan Strauss likes this one a lot.
It just looks good, doesn't it? I mean, it's a hand.
It's pretty much.
Yeah. Right, let's have a quick look at them records.
Oh, FencePost. FencePost, well, Mr. Harry Tolonen, with a huge 130.35.
Wow. Yeah, that is pretty big.
Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it? Steve Millard, 125. Stanley Hamilton is probably Britain's best at that.
Yeah.
As I knew he was going to win the vertical bar the other day.
Yeah.
It was a given. 121. The FencePost hold. Steve Millard takes that one this time, but 80 kilo on that for 54 seconds.
Which is a massive lift.
It's a big lift,
really.
And then you've got to fall asleep for basically 35 of it, and then wake up and just hold for another 20 seconds. But Jerome has lifted 80 kilo on it for 5 seconds. Wow. He's got the minimum 5 seconds. On the holds, it's always a minimum of 5 seconds, because then otherwise it would be a lift.
Yeah.
That's the reason why we had a minimum of 5 seconds. At least you are holding it.
Right, well, that was a quick look into a few of the world of grip tools and a little brief history about them. Thank you for letting us come here today and have a little talk to you about everything.
Well, there's so much to talk about, isn't it? It's frightening, and just there, I thought I'd forgotten loads, and then all of a sudden it's just bang, it's back into my head.
Yeah, but I feel like it's really good to learn the history about these items that, David sort of created, and how they've inspired us all now to sort of carry on gripping everything. And
well, basically, I utilised the grip history from behind.
That's it, yeah.
So there is X amount new, but I always put kudos to who's done the things in the past.
That's it, yeah.
These people, the mighty Apollon, J.C. Tolson, Fottinger, Herman Gorner, Louis Apollon, Alexander Zass. These are greats.
Yeah. Right, well, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you soon for the next one.